Well, the shutdown's over. Will we learn our lessons? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. No, I don't think we are going to learn our lessons because we're not even having the right discussion here. You know, there's a few, from what I see, there's a few obvious lessons that we learned from the shutdown. Number one is that so many of these things that are under the purview of the government that got interrupted because the government had a boo-boo in their voting process, they all need to be privatized. Air traffic controllers need to be privatized. Your national parks, how about we just turn that over to the states? I'm against national parks, period, but can we just turn it over to the states and let them do that? Food stamps, feeding poor people. How about we put that back in the purview of at least the state level? No one's even having that conversation, are they? So here's Donald Trump last night about 8:15 your time, Texas time, right after he signed the shutdown deal.
Today, we're sending a clear message that we will never give in to extortion, because that's what it was. They tried to extort, the Democrats tried to extort our country. In just a moment, I'll sign a bill exactly like we asked Democrats to send us all along, many days ago. This cost the country $1.5 trillion, this little excursion that they took us on. Republicans never wanted a shutdown and voted 15 times for a clean continuation of funding. There's never been a time when one or the other party ever didn't sign a continuation. It's just a continuation, not a big deal. It's a continuation, and we'll talk later. Yet the extremists in the other party insisted on creating the longest government shutdown in American history, and they did it purely for political reasons.
So that was him last night, and so much of what he's saying is partially true just from his, very personal angle. So much of this feels like a setup of, man, this isn't over. The debate begins on the next shutdown. This is a spending bill that is only going to carry us through January 30th. And do we want to shut down the government starting February 1st, or I guess January 31st? And then we got to do this again where FAA, air traffic controllers, aren't getting paid, so they're going to call in sick, and then food stamp people are going to freak out because they might be under 3 bills if they don't get all their food stamps this month. No, we're not going to learn those lessons. If we did, we'd be talking about this right now. And by we, I don't mean you and me. I mean Donald Trump, the people on CNN, Jasmine Crockett, the other people that actually hold levers of power should be talking about this, not just you and me. By the way, you'll hear later in the show, Jasmine Crockett was on CNN last night for 11 minutes. They didn't ask her anything about the shutdown. They didn't ask her about anything other. They talked about the Epstein story for 11 straight minutes. Donald Trump, again last night, went through a laundry list of all the damage from the shutdown.
Over the past 7 weeks, the Democrats' shutdown has inflicted massive harm. They caused 20,000 flights to be canceled or delayed. They departed so many times, so late. People were hurt so badly. Nobody's ever seen anything like this one. This was a no-brainer. This was an easy extension. But they didn't want to do it the easy way. They had to do it the hard way. And they look very bad, the Democrats do. They deprived more than 1 million government workers from their paychecks and cut off food stamp benefits for millions and millions more Americans in need. They caused tens of thousands of federal contractors and small businesses to go unpaid, and the total effect of the damage their antics caused will take weeks and probably months to really calculate.
Only because you hired all these people back? The fact that 1 million people missed their checks and the government, for the most part, kept going just fine. We have 1 million non-essential workers in D.C. We have 1 million maybe it's not all in D.C. Maybe it's spread out over the country. Should we be hiring these people back? I think not. But there's another concern I have about the whole way this shutdown debate went down. Because the Democrats caved. Because the Republicans didn't have to really give anything up in order to reopen the government. And I see a lot of people celebrating the fact that the Democrats caved. And I guess that's nice because Donald Trump gets a win out of it. But as far as policy goes, as far as actually governing the country goes, that should be a huge concern. For 2 reasons. Number one, that means the Democrats don't really hate this bill. And why would they? This is their bill. This continues the preferred spending levels with built-in baseline increases from the last Biden budget. This is a Democrat budget that has been continued. Of course, they don't hate it. They just proved it by not by caving. Number two, for all these Democrats that just caved, and it's not all of them. It was what, like 8 senators for those guys. I see a lot of people running around calling them hypocrites. No. That is the wrong lesson. They're not hypocrites. They said this bill was horrible or whatnot. They were lying about that, but that doesn't mean they're hypocrites. That means they like this bill. That's a bad sign. That's the sign that you probably shouldn't like this bill. Republicans probably shouldn't have been supporting this bill. But the great metaphor was given to me by another radio guy. I'll give him credit, Jesse Kelly. He pointed out during the shutdown when governors were going out to eat in states where they banned going out to eat. Gavin Newsom went to the French Laundry with some other well-to-do people when you weren't allowed to go to restaurants. He said, if someone told you that there was landmines in everyone's front yard in the neighborhood, but you looked out your window and you saw him dancing around in his front yard, you wouldn't say, hey, the guy's a hypocrite. You would say, hey, the guy is lying about the landmines. Does that make sense? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, a great debate is being had about this whole Obamacare and the mandates and the cost cuts and what's all going on with the tax credits and the vote that's going to happen in about 6 weeks. We need to have that, because if that vote goes sideways in 6 weeks, taxpayers are going to be on the hook. That means you. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. You know, I have a feeling in a few years from now, people are going to look at painting the outside of your home like having a landline. It's like, okay, that's what we used to do, but now we do this much better thing. James Parker here for Rhino Shield. We're beyond paint now. You can use paint on the inside of your house. You can, do some finger painting with the kiddos. But when you want that to perform, when you want something that's 10 times thicker than paint, when you want something that'll insulate your house, that'll block 90% of UV sun rays, when you want something that's water resistant, when you want something that has a 25-year transferable warranty, meaning it won't crack, it won't flake, it won't peel. If you want something that breathes with your home, it expands in the summer and it contracts when it gets really cold, you want Rhino Shield. Paint doesn't do that. Rhino Shield does. Give my guy Gary a call. He'll come out. He'll show you the 2-part process, the primer and then the nanoparticle ceramic coating thing that they put on the outside. It's amazing stuff. The technology will blow your mind. If you're concerned about the cost, just mention the James Show. You'll get 20% off from now through the holidays, and they can do financing. So instead of coming out of pocket for the whole thing, you just pay like $158 a month or something. So go to rhinoshielddfw.com, get Gary to come out, show you the product, give you an estimate, and then you make the decision, and I'm sure you'll make the right one. Go to rhinoshielddfw.com. So the shutdown compromise isn't really over. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. Now the government's reopened and they've got all the spending bills passed, but there's another vote coming up in about 6 weeks. So if we're going to be adults about this, we need to have the real conversation. And I don't know, it all feels like PR in some sense. It also feels like, what's the point? We all have our minds made up anyway. But we need to attempt to change some hearts and minds out there, because this Obamacare increasing costs debate, this is worth having. There's a reason why your costs have gone up. There's a reason why, if you get rid of the subsidies, that so many people are going to not be able to afford their healthcare insurance anymore. And we need to get back to the root answer of that. And this is not going to be a healthcare debate. This is going to be an economic debate. The answer to this is not going to come from a doctor. It's not going to come from a guy that works with a microscope and a Bunsen burner and a white lab coat. This is going to come from an economist. Here was a guest on Fox yesterday, Fox News, Avik Roy.
Obamacare created a nationwide, one-size-fits-all set of regulations for that kind of insurance that you were mentioning, that people buy on their own, outside of their employer, outside of the government. And the two things that Obamacare did that broke the insurance market were, one, it overcharged healthy people that needed insurance to help fund the cost of insurance for sick people, and overcharged young people to help fund the cost of insurance for sick people. So young people paid double, triple, quadruple what they were paying before, and healthy people paid double, triple, quadruple what they paid before. And so those were the people who were particularly harmed by Obamacare, who dropped out of the market, who can't find affordable coverage unless they get those subsidies. And the end result is, if only sicker and older people buy insurance, the price of insurance for everybody goes through the roof.
You know, this is the same arguments that were had 15 years ago when Obamacare was being passed. Can we just go back and rewind the clock and look at the promises that were made of Obamacare and say, okay, maybe they were well intended when they passed this, but all of their predictions, all of their, economic studies of it turned out to be wrong. The part where, if you like your doctor, you keep it, like your plan, you keep it, it'll save you money, things will be cheaper, it'll be more affordable, it'll be more accessible, it'll be easier, it'll be better. It's all wrong. Can we not just get back to an up or down vote on repealing it at this point? Isn't that kind of obvious? Bill in Waxahachie, you're on WBAP.
Yeah, the problem with Obamacare is you can't force the American people to buy something that they don't want. And this was, you can't pass a law to tell people they have to buy something. The federal government cannot do that.
Well, they did. I know philosophically it's wrong, and I agree with that sentiment.
The Supreme Court acted like a bunch of you-know-whats and said, well, it's okay to work. But, Obamacare is, Obama was, I must say, one of the worst presidents, even worse than maybe Joe Biden, because he just tore the Constitution apart, and he did so many things that were just, I don't really see that the sea levels have gone down or gone up. Remember that? He was going to stop that. And, he was just so full of, what? It was incredible.
So what would you like to see them do, Bill in Waxahachie?
Well, I'd like to see them get to a point where everybody, I'm not an expert on health care, but there's got to be I'm 80 years old. I've got Medicare, and I don't know what my premiums are. At this point, I don't know how much longer I got to go, but I don't know what the solution is. We have muddled everything up for the last 50 years. That it's just a conglomeration of, idiocy. I mean, these guys, everybody in the Congress should be fired and put 535 people in there that maybe just are citizens and maybe know their hand from their rear end.
I love your kitty cat already. You're the cat there.
She is my sweetheart.
Yeah.
She's 17 years old.
Oh, my God, what a good kitty. All right.
Oh.
Bill in Waxahachie, from your mouth to God's ear, sir. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you. Stick with the phones. We're going to go to Ron in Garland. You're on WBAP. What do you want to see him do?
Good afternoon.
Hey, Ron.
First of all, I'm not a kitty. I don't like stepping in the kitty crap.
That's all right.
What I'd like to say is when Obamacare first was pushed in on us, all it was a distribution of wealth. That's it. Because I had good insurance back then. It wasn't the best, but it was good. And now we're stuck with this crap that we got now. You know, half the time all they want to do is pay for a preventative, and that's what Obamacare done. Now it helped all the people that couldn't afford insurance. Yeah, helped them a lot. But all they done was took from the middle class. That's all it was, a money grab.
Well, yeah, but so there's the emotional pull of Obamacare is you tell someone that there's poor people out there that can't afford health care and they're dying needlessly, and there's other people who have a ton of money, and if we just took it, and they don't even need it, they have millions of dollars, if we just took a little bit from them and gave to these people, then we could end suffering and things would be much better. It didn't really turn out that way so much, but that's the siren song of every social program. Oh, look, there's some hungry people. We're going to take money from definitely not you, and we're going to redistribute it. These are not healthcare questions. These are not food questions. This is not about farmers or ranchers. This is all economics. And as soon as we can just come to the realization that capitalism is better than socialism, no matter whether you call it Medicare or Medicaid or socialized medicine, that's what it is. And when we can learn that lesson, half of our problems will be solved in America. The other half of our problems will be solved when we figure out that, you know what kids need? Not another program, not public schools, not Medicare, Medicaid. They need dads. We solved those two problems. Capitalism better than socialism. Dads are better than no dads. Most of our problems go away in America. Coming up next, the City Hall is lying to your face about wanting to study getting out of City Hall. They already want it done. You'll hear it next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. The shutdown is over. The debate has just begun. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. You know, there's another shutdown already in the works for January 31st. January 30th, the funding will run out in the current bill. But we have a vote sooner than that that's supposed to happen in December. And that's going to be about some of these healthcare policies. And if we're not learning the right lesson here, we're going to go in the wrong direction, and we're not going to improve our healthcare sector any. In case people haven't noticed, I'm sure you've noticed, you listen to WBAP, you're a good little informed citizen. But when do you think the rest of the country is going to notice that when you subsidize something, the price of it goes up? The price of it gets out of control. When we subsidize college, did that make it more affordable, or is it less affordable than ever? When we subsidize medical care, did that make it more affordable, or is it less affordable than ever? That's what subsidies do. 800-288-9227. So you know what I want to do. I want to get rid of the whole thing. The other side of that discussion doesn't even want to maintain the status quo. They want to expand the failed policies.
We thought that it would help cover people. And yes, the costs have increased, but it did slow the growth of costs. But ultimately, I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene. The system is broken. These private health insurance companies have been ripping off the American people. And I believe that what we need to do is expand Medicare, that is actually, especially for people between 50 and 64, that would be the solution. It would also help our manufacturing. It would help our competitiveness. It would lower costs.
They want to expand Medicaid or Medicare and have it start at 50. Oh, my goodness. You know, for the most part, people don't use a whole lot of health care between when they get out of childhood and they get into adulthood until about age, I don't know, 65-ish. But if you back it up to 50, so the only people that aren't covered, the only people that actually have to pay for their own health care is this small little window of society that is age 20 to 50. Yeah, that couldn't possibly go wrong. Let's try that. To the phones we go. Triss in Sherman. Triss, do I have that right? Triss?
Yep, Trish.
Oh, Trish. Hey, Trish. You're on WBAP.
Hey, what you just said was absolutely right. We need to stop the subsidies. We need to get rid of Obamacare completely. That did nothing but raise premiums, and people don't even think about it, but that also raised everybody's deductibles. They just need to open insurance across the state lines, let free market and capitalism work. That will drive the prices down with competition. That's all they need to do, but they won't do it.
Well, that doesn't sell. The politicians' power comes from the ability to take a dollar or print a dollar out of thin air and spin it in a way they see fit. You can't buy any votes by telling people they have to be responsible for themselves. You buy votes by taking money from responsible people and paying for other people's irresponsibility.
Right. Yeah, they don't want it to work. Bingo.
Well,
it would work.
They just want socialized medicine, and every step that they can cover someone else with taxpayer dollars is a step closer to their ultimate goal, whether they admit it or not, whether they know it or not. That's why they want to expand it down to 50. It's not because Medicare's done a great job and been a good steward of your taxpayer dollars. It's not because it's helped healthcare costs go down or improvements to the quality of care. They're just socialists. It really is that easy. Philip in Grand Prairie, you're on WBAP.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to add a comment, and most people probably won't remember this. If you research it, you can find it. Back when Obama was running against Hillary for the nomination, they were in a debate, and Barack made the comment. Of course, they were debating the whole thing about, Obamacare, the healthcare situation. And Hillary challenged him and said, Barack, you've got to force the younger people to buy. They're going to have to pay for it. And he says, no, they will not. You do not have to do that. And she went on and she says, Barack, that will never work. And he sat there and I would tell you, go look that up. Even Hillary Clinton was telling him, the way you're doing this will never work unless you require everyone to buy health care insurance. The young people have to buy it. So that's why you're in the dilemma you're in right now. He sold this country a bill of goods on a very stupid, unworkable program.
Yeah. Without the mandate, the math doesn't work out, because if you tell someone who's 24, listen, you need to get health care. It's going to cost you $12,000 a year, whatever ridiculous cost it is. And that's an exaggeration, maybe like $6,000 a year. And they're like, okay, So I can either pay $6,000 a year and maybe I use healthcare, or I can pay zero. And if I use healthcare, will it be less than $6,000 a year? Probably. So no one would buy it. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Without the mandates, the math doesn't work. But that's the problem is when you let the people have their free will and their free choice, they don't choose what the politicians want. So they have to force it. I don't want to hear anything else about the no kings people or the people who are worried about fascists. This is exactly what fascism looks like. The ownership of the healthcare companies and the insurance companies is going to stay in private hands, but the government's going to control what the policy covers, how much it covers, who has to sign up, when they have to sign up, how much they're going to pay, how much the pay increases could be, what it's going to pay for, what it's not going to pay for. That's the de facto economic model of fascism. You're so right, Philip. Greg and Burleson, can you make it quick? You're on WBAP.
Very quick. What I don't understand is why no one is asking the question, why didn't Democrats, they had full control to write this bill the way they wanted to write it when they wrote it. Why did they not write it to where these subsidies would have been permanent?
Okay, so
I'm going to give you the answer. The answer to that question is, and the kook that you just played the recording of before I got on the phone here.
That was Ro Khanna, but yeah.
Okay, well, he is going to make my point for me. That we are at this point right now because they wanted to have this argument, because it is now time to push for the expansion of Medicare and Medicaid to go to the younger people. This was all about this moment in time where they could have this argument again to where we now get all of us get VA-style health care.
Interesting theory. However, I'm under the impression the Obamacare subsidies were set to expire when they originally passed Obamacare back in 2010 or whatever it was, for two reasons. Number one is the subsidies weren't supposed to be permanent. It was just supposed to be a bridge while we made this transition, because once everybody got into the healthcare system and everybody was paying in premiums and we had all the regulations set right so evil corporations weren't trying to make an evil profit and exploiting people, then the cost would naturally go down so much that the subsidies wouldn't be necessary. They were also set to expire around COVID time because they wanted to score the bill a little bit better. They wanted to make it cost less than, I think it was $1 trillion or whatever. And then the subsidies, they were supposed to expire like 5 years ago, but they've got pushed back because of like a COVID emergency fund bill. They just stuck it in there that they're going to expand them. And so then it was supposed to expire like a year or so ago, but then they have just been doing continuing resolutions and sticking it in there. So this is a can that's been kicked for like 5 years now. These were supposed to be gone anyway, and they're acting like, oh, it's terrible, you took them away. No, that was part of the original plan when y'all passed it 15 years ago. Don't act like that's not how it was written. 800-288-9227. We'll continue talking about the shutdown debate, and coming up, this BS about City Hall. We'll leave you foaming at the mouth. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, sports fans, James Parker here for the Prize Picks app. There's a football game tonight, and New England's playing the Jets. I expect New England to just absolutely mud stomp the Jets, but I'm going to have a little fun with it in the meantime. Here's what I did for my lineup. I got Drake May, the quarterback for New England. His statistic was 236.5 passing yards. I picked more. I believe he is going to absolutely shred the New York secondary. And then I have two other players. You can do 2 to 6 players. I did 3 today. Breece Hall, the guy that ran all over the Cowboys about a month ago, his number was at 58.5 rushing yards. I picked more. And then Justin Fields, the quarterback for the Jets, there was a statistic on him, 36.5 rushing yards for the quarter. I know he's a running quarterback, but that's a lot. So I picked less on that. So we'll see how it turns out tomorrow. If it all goes well, I have turned $20 into $60. It's that easy. You can win up to 2,000 times your money, and you can start with a little bit of a boost from us. Download the Prize Picks app, use promo code WBAP, and you get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. So download Prize Picks, use promo code WBAP, take advantage, get that $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup, and you'll thank me later. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. What's City Hall doing now? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. They want to tear down City Hall. They're going to come up with an excuse for it. It's going to be based on this study that they just commissioned yesterday. Our media partners, WFAA, had the report on this. And, oh God, this is so frustrating here because this is another one of those. This is a terrible idea. Everyone agrees, right? No, I guess not. In the news, they just pass along whatever City Hall tells them, like, hey, this is the gospel truth. No real critical thinking or pushback. They give 15 seconds in this package to the opposing side. And I think this is another one of those bad ideas that might come to fruition.
Dallas leaders taking a big step toward moving out of City Hall. The council directed City Manager Kim Tolbert to study City Hall's real estate value and economic development opportunities for a plan to be presented early next year. Now, those in favor of a potential move say this is just exploratory. The council facing more than $300 million in repair costs for that 50-year-old building. Opponents of the move, though, say the study will be used to justify demolishing City Hall.
Yes, it's exploratory. That's all it is. It's exploratory. Oh, BS. Absolute lies. You've seen this too many times. And if you haven't, hey, you know what? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you just started listening to WBAP Monday and you haven't seen how this little cycle works. So let me describe it to you. There's a 100% chance this report will come back recommending they leave City Hall. And then the debate's going to be like, well, do we demolish it and build a new one? And the report's going to say, well, yes, if you demolish it and build a new one, there's a great economic opportunity and it'll be so good for the economy and it'll revitalize downtown. And the word revitalize will be a big player in the news reports on it. 100% chance this report is going to come back recommending Dallas city offices find a new home. And we really have no choice but to demolish this old, crusty piece of crap building. I really despise this incredibly dishonest tactic. No, we just want to study this. How do we even know what's best for the people if we don't even study this? Okay, I'll give you 3 reasons why this logic about government studies is hot garbage. Number 1 is they don't really want to study it. They already know what they want to do. There's a 0% chance the people that want to move out of City Hall and demolish it are going to see any report that will change their mind. They wouldn't dare order a report that would come back unfavorable. They're going to go back and get the report that they pay for. So this study is going to be nothing more than government-ordered propaganda used to sell the thing that they already want to do. It's a public relations tool, and it gives the media the ability to look at the numbers. Well, this nonpartisan third-party independent study shows it would revitalize the downtown corridor. It would be an economic winner and bring in $200 million worth of stop it. The second reason is this logic about we just want to study it. Never works in reverse. It is always, always, always a function to grow government, either spend more or have more power or do something that makes the people who are ordering the study more powerful. Do you think AOC and Bernie Sanders, when they say they want the federal government to study gun control, is because they want an honest answer or because they want to use the results as an excuse for the gun control policies they already support? So let's imagine this in the reverse. How come you never hear this? How come, hey, City Council, why don't we pay for a study to see how much we could cut in taxes if we eliminated DART? Why don't we pay for a study to see how many people actually use this stupid bike lane over here on Houston Avenue next to the American Airlines Center? You want to do a study for that? Oh, no, only on the study on the things that violate my principles and good governance. Great. Why don't we pay for a study to see how things would improve if we didn't allow women to vote? Oh, I just want to study it. I just want to find out. I just want to know. No, you wouldn't even allow that. So it's not just a study. And the third reason why these studies are always hot garbage is they're always wrong. Now, you're not going to know that now. You're not going to know that for 5, 10, sometimes 20 years. But a great example is look at the studies that were used to sell DART to the taxpayers in North Texas, to the voters in North Texas in 1983 when they voted for DART. Everything in their studies was wrong. I've gone back and looked at it. We've talked about it on the show. We've had the reporter who was in the public debates against the beginning of DART in 1983. The ridership estimates in their studies were wrong. Their cost estimates in the study were wrong. The economic impact estimates were wrong. The traffic congestion estimates were wrong. The miles of track we would have by 2025, those estimates were wrong. The prediction that DART would never take on debt was wrong. The estimates on how much the fares would cover was wrong. I mean, everything was wrong, except for the color of the trains is going to be yellow. I think that's the only thing that turned out to be true in 2025. Now, the nice guy in me says we should just look at that terrible example, learn from it, and never fall for this garbage again. The not so nice guy in me says whoever put out that study, they need to be jailed for fraud. There should be consequences, legal consequences for lying to the taxpayers. Now, I don't know if there was bad intent. I would like to have a trial there because it's either they're frauds or they're really, really, really bad at their jobs. All they did was help sell a lie. That's how you got DART passed. Here we are still dealing with it now. That's what they're going to do here. 100%. You'll hear what the mayor said about it in his State of the City address this morning. Coming up next on The James Show, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, fellow Texans. Welcome back. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Your mayor did his State of the City address today, and in it, he discussed this idea that City Hall may need to find a new home and maybe even demolish this old piece of trash current City Hall that we have. I mean, my gosh, the thing's almost 50 years old, and, you know, buildings never last longer than 50 years, that's for sure. So I played you the report from the news. Look what the mayor himself had to say about it. It sounds like he's already signed on to this. Like, it's already a done deal. He expects this to happen. He wants it to happen. What do they know that we don't? Because the real answer, like, oh, this old building, this 49-year-old building, it's so terrible. It's not even usable anymore. No one's believing that. Who's paying you? How much are you making off this? Why would you do this? How does this benefit you? Is it the donors? Is it the real estate developers? Who is it? What is it? Who's paying you? Because this makes no sense.
A few blocks away, we also have to decide the future of Dallas City Hall. This matter deserves an open and honest public discussion that leads us to a realistic plan. A plan that looks to the future and seeks to solve problems and not simply admire them. While we still have much to understand and analyze, I do want to say this. Buildings are meant for people. Downtowns are meant for people. City Hall, as it stands today, is not a user-friendly building for people, and it risks becoming an albatross for our city. Whatever the intentions of a famous architect, it has become a massive symbol of a Byzantine bureaucracy that is stuck in the past and falling apart. Its shortcomings masked by a brutalist facade. As a workplace for city employees and as a gathering place for the public, it's clearly failing. If the city government remains in the building, something has to change. If we decide to move on and modernize, something has to change. The status quo is not acceptable, and choices must be made.
So let's talk about this building here. It just opened in 1978. It's a year younger than me. But at the time, when they built this building, wasn't there people like the city councilman we have now, like the mayor we have now, telling you this is the design that we need? Didn't they look at the design and be like, yeah, this will accommodate our offices and our needs as a city government going forward? Yes, we approved. We signed off on it. How could it all of a sudden not work for the city to be the center of city government anymore? I understand the city has grown, but they're not saying we need to expand City Hall or we need to maybe lease some additional space in this building across the street or around the corner or whatever. They're saying this building is trash and we need to tear it down. I do not buy it. Something is going on here. A 47-year-old building is not past its useful lifespan. A 47-year-old building. This is the confounding thing about the people who are in city government or state government or just any kind of government. For some buildings, if they're older than 47 years, well, you can't tear it down. It's a historical monument. We've got to do preservation. That would be gentrification even. No, you need to preserve the historic natural character of the neighborhood and restore old buildings. And they'll spend millions of your dollars to restore old buildings that really are past their useful date. So there's this magical middle spot where a building is obviously new or new enough that it shouldn't be torn down. And if a building is so old, it shouldn't be torn down. So I guess if it's 47 years old, that's cool. That's the little hole in the donut here where y'all finally support tearing down a building. There's something fishy going on here. I would like for someone to get to the bottom of it. And you're like, James, why don't you get to the bottom of it? What are you? You want me to go through their tax documents? I'm not a forensic accountant. But for the media that's over there saying, oh, yeah, hey, this sounds like a good idea. And, this is a pretty old building. Wow, it's just got so many problems. It would be economically smart to do so. Just parroting the press releases that come from the powers that be in City Hall. Why don't you go investigate and find out why they are lying to our face about this? Have these studies ever been right? They just voted, if you're just joining us, City Hall voted yesterday to study the idea of moving city offices and tearing down City Hall. Yeah, we just want to study it. Are these studies ever right? Were the studies right about DART? Remember a few years ago, one of my favorite stories about downtown Dallas and their genius studies is the studies that's like, here's what we need. In the Trinity River, we'll build some artificial rapids and we'll have people tube down it. That'll be a big hit. Was that a big hit, or did that just last like a few days before it collapsed on its face? The people that did that study, did they get any negative consequences? Did they still get paid in full? Did someone even get a refund from them? Because I'd be charging them with fraud. And it was so bad. Like you remember how dumb that idea was? And you even thought so? And you thought, who could be in favor of this? Boy, this is really going to fail. How is it that you know better than the people who are going to get millions of your taxpayer dollars to study this? This is their job to study this. How come they keep getting it right and you get it wrong? And this isn't even your job. You have your own little specialty. You're a mechanic, or you work in sales. I don't know what you do, but you're better at figuring out these very important, very expensive economic boo-boos than the people who are paid to do so. This is John in Dallas. You're on WBAP. Hey, John.
Hey there. I had an idea. I don't know if it would work or not, but what if we got it declared a historical building? I think the criteria has to be that it's like 50 years old and it has to have like significant architectural significance. God, I feel like it maybe meets a couple of those. Then it would be like impossible for them to do it, right?
I guess. Don't they have to decide that, though? Don't they get to decide what is and what isn't a historic monument or preservation or whatever?
I think it's at a state level or maybe even a federal level.
Maybe we should. I don't know. I like the way your brain thinks, John, because now you're using their ridiculous, restrictive, fascist economic methods against them. I like the sound of that, John. That gives me a little ray of hope. Look into it and call me back or send me an email. Let me know.
All right, we'll do.
All right, thank you. John in Dallas, working on solutions already. Look at that. Maybe he should go work for the TV stations or a newspaper around here. Coming up next on The James Show, Donald Kimball. He's a political pundit. Is going to evaluate the shutdown's over. What's coming up next for you? When are things going to be back to normal? It's The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. All right, so the shutdown's over now. What? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. What is it? Is this Black Betty just sped up? What is this song? My next guest, Donald Kimball, is going to try and help answer that question. Shutdown's over. What's next? I don't know. Let's ask Donald Kimball. What do you think is going to be next, Donald? Welcome back to the show, but what are we doing now? So, Donald Kimball, the Epstein story has just absolutely dominated CNN for the last 2 days. Whenever we do things that are like counting votes and not like culture war stuff, I do CNN instead of MSNBC on my left screen. I have a right screen and a left screen, metaphorically and literally speaking. And like they had Jasmine Crockett on yesterday. They did a whole 10-minute segment with her. They didn't ask her about anything else other than the Epstein list. And then I looked up, and just a few minutes ago, she was on CNN again. And for the whole segment, the caption at the bottom was some question or some statement about the Epstein list. They're acting like this is the most important thing in the world after ignoring it for 4 straight years under the previous administration. This is this has my antennas buzzing. Yes. Yeah. Well, okay, we have another vote that's supposed to come up in December on some of these healthcare issues, the Obamacare subsidies or tax credits or whatever they agreed to. Why do they think that's going to go any different than what just happened this week? Donald Kimball, I want you to dig into your political commentary experience and take your best guess on what happens when this spending bill runs out at January 30th. Are we going to get another shutdown? What do you think is going to happen with this Epstein list, Bill? Right? Now, that'd be interesting if that happened. I'm glad you added that in the end. This is Donald Kimball. Thank you very much. Find him online. He's a good follow on Twitter and regular on the show. Appreciate your insight, sir. All right, coming up, there's some people who want to talk about this move to crush City Hall and destroy it. And that's just one of many bad ideas floating around City Hall. We'll discuss next on The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. They're going to tear down City Hall, aren't they? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. You know how I know they're going to do it? Because it's a terrible idea. And the economic ignorance of these people has been on display your entire life. Don't expect it to get any better now. But so many people think this is a good idea. The mayor was speaking in favor of it in his State of the City address this morning. Most of the city council, all but 3 people on the city council, are for this. I'm sure the developers and the real estate people and the big money movers are in favor of this as well, because they get to either be the guy that tear it down or build the new thing or get the lease for the new offices or whoever. It's a terrible idea. If you're just joining us, I can get you all caught up. Here's WFAA on the city council meeting yesterday.
Dallas leaders taking a big step toward moving out of City Hall. The council directed City Manager Kim Tolbert to study City Hall's real estate value and economic development opportunities for a plan to be presented early next year. Now, those in favor of a potential move say this is just exploratory. The council facing more than $300 million in repair costs for that 50-year-old building. Opponents of the move, though, say the study will be used to justify demolishing City Hall.
No, thanks for that one little sentence of pushback there. But yeah, of course, this study is going to come back and say exactly what they want it to say. We've got to get rid of City Hall. It's beyond repair. It'll be an economic development boost. 100% chance the study is going to agree with these people. And it's not real. Diane in Seagoville, you're on WBAP.
Well, hello there. Just a comment. Back then when those buildings were built, they were built by qualified masonry that put that stuff together. No, it doesn't need to be demolished. Maybe some upgrades if they want to do that. But all of our cities, even out here, they take away the heritage of the city.
I'm not too worried about heritage. I'm worried about the economic stupidity of the move.
Well, yes, and why can't it's built very well? Do they go into that part of it?
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion on how well it's built. However, if it is built real shoddy and it's only 47 years old and it deserves to be torn down, then whoever built that building or whoever approved it, they need to go to jail. Whoever the contractor was who did the terrible work needs to go to jail. I bet you're right, though.
Wait. I didn't know terrible work was done already.
No, I'm just saying.
We're talking about if it was built in 47.
No. It's 47. Well. It's 47 years old.
47 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're saying 47 years ago there wasn't good quality carpenters and masonry people that put it up.
Yeah, in 1978.
And besides the shape of it, what about the architect that drew it?
Dude, I think the building's just fine. I see this as another.
Where are you from, James?
What?
Oh my gosh, where do you live? My goodness.
You don't like the city? You don't like City Hall downtown?
Yes, I don't want it down.
That's what I said. I think we agree on this, Diane.
Oh well, it didn't. I don't know. My mind's going crazy. Then all right. Gotta go.
No, we agree. We're friends. It works. Mike in Fort Worth, you're on WBAP. Hey, Mike.
So go along with your thought about the economics part of it. Where's all the maintenance roads? How come the city inspectors didn't catch these problems? I've been a contractor off and on for many years, and if you don't have all your P's and Q's in the right place, they really shut you down. This should have been done a long time ago.
Well, my brother-in-law is a general contractor, and he would just barf at the irony of the people who go out and inspect your buildings and make sure they're all up to code and all your maintenance is up to date. Now they're going to turn around and tell us, well, the maintenance has been so neglected on this building over the last 4 decades that it's not even usable anymore. Somebody, if that's the case, somebody needs to go to jail.
They're the ones that need to be held accountable. Exactly.
They just want to tear it down so they can spend the money or get the donations or get the kickbacks or whatever. This isn't on the up and up. Logically speaking, this is a terrible, terrible idea. Gary in Newark, you're on WBAP.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call there, James. It's all about the money. I understand last week that they said that the Dallas Stars was interested in the property if they give it up. So that's where it's all about the money. You know, if all of a sudden there's a lot of money involved, then the property is no good any longer. The building is no good. I went to a school over in Fort Worth that it's 112 years old, and they're still using it, and it's fine. What the heck is the difference? But the man called earlier said about putting it on a historical site. The city's they put those on and they can take it off. We had Farrington Field in Fort Worth, the big football field. The developer offered them a whole lot of money for it. Well, the restrooms are bad and it's got cracks and it's got this and it hadn't been kept up. So it needs to be sold, to the developer. Everybody's getting kickbacks off all this stuff. If some building becomes available for somebody to buy it and make a lot of money out of it, all of a sudden it's no good. That's just an excuse that they use over and over and over. Well, this building's old. The maintenance hasn't been kept up. It's no good. We need to tear it down. But then all of a sudden everybody makes a whole lot of money out of it. And, that's what it's about, just about the money.
Okay, yeah. So I was looking into that historic preservation angle. Kind of seems to be smart, except for the fact that there's layers of it. The city of Dallas has their own landmark designation commission, but there is national versions of that, and there's state versions of that. So I don't think we're stuck with just the Dallas people. Does anyone know anyone in Austin that could pull this off? Thank you very much, Gary, in Newark. Yeah, it's a curious thing because when the old Forest Theater on Martin Luther King, was getting old and dilapidated, they're like, we can't tear this down. This was built in 1949. It's a theater. It doesn't even do anything. We don't even go to theaters anymore. No, we had to spend taxpayer dollars to renovate that. We couldn't tear that down. Couldn't turn that up. Couldn't build a Star Stadium there or a Maverick Stadium there, whatever, casino, whatever they want to do. No, but this building is Jeepers, 1978. I don't know if we can rehabilitate a building that old. I don't know if we can get any kind of use out of something that's 47 years old. I mean, that's forever in building years. Something's up. It stinks. I don't like it. There's something going on, and it's corrupt, and you know it. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. As soon as we get done trashing this Dallas City Hall idea, there is a new group standing up for DART, and it's even more political than you think. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Shenanigans at City Hall. I'm James Parker. It's the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. If you're just joining us, they're moving forward with a study now. We just want to study the economic impact of demolishing City Hall and moving somewhere else, or maybe building a new one, or leasing the space. Who knows? But I guarantee you 100% this study, which we're supposed to get the results for in February 2026. If it comes in on time, there's a 100% chance it's going to say, oh, it would be so good for the city if we did what most of the people on the city council voted to have a study. You know, the people that are paying for the study have an incredible record of getting the results they want. You know, whether it's, you know, whether or not we demolish City Hall, or whether or not we build the whitewater rapids on the Trinity River in downtown Dallas, or whether or not, we need to build a new dart track or something. Every time comes in just the way. Global warming scientists. So it's a terrible idea. They're going to study it. The study is just a bogus veil, because in your experience, every time you've seen this study, it comes back and, oh yeah, see, this is what's going to be used against you now. This is what they're going to say. Well, the study says this isn't what I want to do. The study says this would be good for Dallas. If you don't support this, I guess you don't like Dallas. I guess you don't know what's good for Dallas, or you don't want what's good for Dallas. Oh, shut up. Just stop it. This is a terrible idea. The building's fine. It's only 47 years old. If y'all hadn't been keeping up with it, then somebody needs to go to jail. But we don't need to demolish it. It's just a terrible idea from every single angle. I don't buy it. Back to the phones. Jeff, Itasca, you're on WBAP.
Well, James, I've got some insight about the city hall that will rock most people's boats. I was involved with the city of Dallas in that building 20 years ago on a project that everybody involved with the city at that time should be locked up and put in jail, including the mayor, the council, their architect, their energy manager at the time. But the city of Dallas got ripped off by a company in 2004 to renovate the complete mechanical system in the building, and it was a disaster from the get-go. And the city of Dallas and their people went along with this company, which I resigned for. I worked for the company. I was involved with the project as a mechanical lead person on that renovation, and I resigned because of what was going on with the company. But the city of Dallas themselves have the most incompetent people in this stuff than any city and government entity I've ever worked with. But what's going on, like you said, is a total sham. It's a cover-up, and the people involved are only out to make money. But that what happened in 2004 and the money they spent then, everybody involved at that time should have gone to jail.
Yeah, I figured something like that. I don't even have to know the details to know that if it really is true that the building's so dilapidated and the maintenance has been so neglected that it's better off torn down, then people need to go to jail for neglecting it. Then people need to go to jail for not doing the upkeep, or for saying they did the upkeep, but they just filled out a piece of paper, got their check, and they let it rot. Did y'all really just let this building rot in front of your face over the last 47 years? Well, then go to the maintenance manager, whoever's in charge. Someone has to be in charge of that building. Jail time for these people. That's fraud. That's theft of taxpayer dollars. If you take the money but you don't perform the service, that's theft. So either someone needs to go to jail, or they're lying about the condition of the building. Might be a little of both. Brian in Farmers Branch, you're on WBAP.
Hey, James. I just want to say they just want to put up in a sports complex or something to make a bunch of money. They forget one thing. That building is a damn landmark. Everybody forget about, RoboCop.
Yeah, I remember it was using RoboCop. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, the building still looks cool. Just fix what it needs. You can get masons in there to do everything. You get electricians to do everything. You already own the building.
I am interested to see what happens. How are they going to tell you that it's cheaper to tear down this gigantic building and build a new one to replace it? How would it be cheaper to do that than just repair the existing one? I can't wait to see the mental gymnastics that they're going to put themselves through for that.
Plus, the architect is the guy who designed the Triangle building over in the Louvre in Paris. So
yeah, IMP or whatever his name is.
Talking about whatever.
Well, we've got a couple of great blank spaces over by Reunion Tower and the where they're building the convention center. There's places to put a a stadium already. I mean,
leave the landmark alone.
even if we do have to tear down a building, one of the last ones we should tear down is Dallas City Hall to build a stadium. I mean, look at all the just wasted space in downtown. Like, I don't want to tear down the big green building, the Bank of America Tower, the Renaissance Tower, or Capital One building or anything like that. But there's plenty of better spaces for us to put a stadium way before we get to demolishing City Hall. This is Gideon in Dallas. You're on WBAP.
Hey, I just wanted to mention, I don't think it would cost $300 million to repair the building. Considering it costs about $75 million in 1978, are you telling me that it's going to cost $300 million to do some modest repairs based on what they're describing? I think that's a crooked number.
Absolutely. Well, who was that? Was it Mendelson? One of the other city councilmen, when they were having a meeting about this a couple weeks ago, she pointed out that they did a study that was similar to this during COVID. So 2020, 2021, somewhere around there. And they estimated that they would need $100 million to get everything up to par. That was 5 years ago. And how is that estimate tripled in the last 3 years? I don't know. How much did it cost in 1978? What would you say the full cost of $78 million?
Yeah, about $78 million.
All right, $78 million.
At the time.
All right. So in 1978 dollars, that would be $388 million in 2025 dollars. So it'd be about the same as just building it from scratch, rehabbing it. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. I enjoy your skepticism, Gideon. You made a great point, and I did not know that original number. So $78 million. Thank you very much, sir. Good stuff. Coming up next on the James Show, the other shenanigans is happening about DART. There's a political action group that is stepping in to try and save DART, and they are the most politically partisan Team Blue outfit ever. I'll introduce you to DATA, the Dallas Area Transit Alliance, who's being backed by the what? The Action Network. Find out who these people are next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So is Dart woke? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. I don't say that lightly. I don't try and forcefully shoehorn politics into issues where it doesn't belong. And you may think that Dart is a nonpartisan issue here, but that's part of the spell that they've cast to keep the taxpayers in North Texas under heel. Dart is being put to the test in 4 of its constituent suburbs. Just recently, in the last couple of weeks, we've had Plano decide that they're going to put Dart withdrawal on a referendum and a vote next year. Irving followed suit. Highland Park, Farmers Branch. If these 4 municipalities withdraw from Dart, it's hard to see how Dart recovers. It's hard to see how the other constituent jurisdictions are going to stick around for the poor deal that they're getting with Dart. Now, there is a group that's trying to save Dart. Have you heard of these people? We're going to call them DATA. But what this is the Dallas Area Transit Alliance. You ever heard of these people? Dallas Area Transit Alliance. It's one of the Dart's most vocal allies. All they do is support Dart. Who are these losers that are like, man, this failed project, I'm going to dedicate my life to making sure this expands and doesn't get cut. Of course, that's not the way they see it. Sure, people can see the same information and come to different conclusions. But check this out. What they're doing now, in order to influence other municipalities, in order to try and get these referendums to not happen, they're activating all kinds of people, political activists, this is what they do, and they're getting them to write in emails and protest and write letters and phone calls. First to the 4 constituencies that are looking at withdrawing from Dart: Plano, Farmers Branch, Irving, Highland Park. But then also for the other municipalities that are probably seeing what's happening with these 4, and they're thinking, hey, if they can get out of this, we need to get out of this too. And there's a lot of them, how hard would it be to swing the voting public when it comes to these smaller places like a Cockrell Hill is in on this, or Glen Heights, University Park, Rowlett is in on this. So DATA, the Dallas Area Transit Alliance, they have, their vice president told the Dallas Express, the group is composed of Dart riders from across the service. Anyone's welcome to join. But they're all getting these form letters through the website, and they're getting a little help making this happen from a group called the Action Network. Have you heard of this? So DATA is orchestrating a large-scale opposition through the Action Network. Let me read you a little bit about how the Action Network describes themselves on their own website. Again, I didn't want to make this a political thing. I did not want to shoehorn politics in where it doesn't belong. But when you talk about the Action Network, you're like, wait a second, that sounds like National Action Network. That's Al Sharpton's outfit. It's not that. No, it's not that. It's pretty close, though. On their website, they say since launching in 2012, Action Network tools have helped the Women's March mobilize huge rallies across the globe, helped the DNC raise millions for candidates and organizations. The Action Builder tool set, launched in 2019, helps dozens of unions and progressive organizations empower leaders and building strong organizing campaigns. This is a left-wing outfit. This is the people behind the Pink Hat March. This is a progressive outlet. The support for Dart is now a left-wing support. This isn't some dispassionate third-party, non-political or apolitical group that Dart, when they wanted to be saved, they ran into the loving arms of who? Team Blue. So whenever you see these little Dart trains, they look yellow. They're really blue. And this just got political. Here it is. Team Blue wants to keep taking money from you and giving it to other people, whether it's an Obamacare subsidy, whether it's a food stamp, or whether it's a ride to work. They can't stop taking money from you and giving it to other members of Team Blue. And we've got to put our foot down. We've got to recognize this for what it is. It's another failed socialist experiment. You can't socialize people's commute and get better results than the free market can. Do we have to prove this the hard way in every industry? This is Mark in Rockwall. You're on WBAP. Hey, Mark.
Hey, man, I don't know about all the political stuff, but when all this stuff blew up with the city, the suburbs, I just started Googling it to see what the numbers were. And it's crazy. The published numbers, they'll tell you on average there's 220,000 riders a day. You do the math, 365 days a year. You look at how many stops there are. There's like 8,000 stops. And then you look at the annual budget, it's $1.8 billion.
Yep.
So you do the math, and that's $22 a ride. And I know that's simple math, and there's probably some other details in there or whatever, but it's just stupid. And I know I don't know what a ticket is. Is it $5? Is it $3? I don't know. But, everybody that pays in and has any money going into DART, they're paying 4, 5, 6, 7 to 1 what something's worth.
No kidding.
And that's by the numbers that are published.
You could just subsidize their Uber rides for that much.
Yeah.
Other people break down the money where if you broke it out by the number of commuters, it would be about $6,000 a year, which would cover the payments on a Toyota Corolla. Maybe it's an 8-year-old Toyota Corolla. But the money is just ridiculous, Mark. And how many riders did you say they had? 220,000 is
220,000 a day.
So
you multiply that out.
When DART was passed in 1983, they were promising that by 2010, because that's where the estimates ended, that we would have 450,000 riders. So we're at less than half of what was predicted. So of course it can't pay for itself. Hey, great addition to the conversation there. That's Mark and Rockwall. Appreciate it, sir. Coming up next, about this time on yesterday's show, someone had called in and they said, hey, did you hear about the guy that got arrested for posting a meme on Facebook in Texas? And I'd seen the headline. I went ahead and did a little bit of homework, looked into the story, and it looks pretty bad. And it's in Hood County, and the sheriff is going to get a nice stern talking to coming up next on The James Show. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. A Texas veteran, been arrested for a meme in Texas. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Saw this headline floating around for the last couple of days. A caller asked me to report on this for you on yesterday's show. And so I did a little digging. Here's a good summary by Cambry from Texas Scorecard.
You can't make this up. After arresting a veteran for posting a meme, the Hood County Sheriff is now asking for more meme complaints. Now, just days after arresting Navy veteran Colton Crottinger for posting a meme, yes, a meme, the Hood County Sheriff Roger Deeds is now asking citizens to report more social media crimes. He literally posted online encouraging anyone who feels victimized by something said on social media to please come forward. Now, let that sink in. Texas, land of free speech and cowboy grit, is now investigating memes. Colton's lawyer says he's never seen anyone arrested for political speech in 25 years, and local conservatives are calling it what it is: lawfare and intimidation. Well, former GOP chair Nate Criswell says Deeds has declared a new war on memes. Even the current GOP chair, Greg Harrell, is warning this is straight up silencing political dialogue. So what started as a ridiculous arrest has now turned into a countrywide censorship campaign. If posting online is now a crime in Texas, the First Amendment is officially on probation.
Whoa. All right. So do we have a rogue sheriff in Hood County or what? That was Cambry from Texas Scorecard, now the managing editor of Texas Scorecard. Brandon Walton's coming back on the James Show. That was a great summary by Cambry. What's if you were going to be generous and tell the other side of the story, the sheriff's side of the story, how do you think he would explain why this guy is in jail? Well, and it was presented as satire, though. So, what is this guy being held on? Is this like slander or libel or something like that? What's the charge? Okay. I mean, that if the context is correct, that could be a form of fraud, but clearly this is satire. I saw the post itself. He's even labeled it. He's not even hiding the fact that he's satire. So what could we do about this the sheriff? Do we know if he could face charges for illegally imprisoning somebody? Yeah. Well, we're talking with Brandon Waltons from Texas Scorecard. TexasScorecard.com is his website. And if you go there and you wade through all the teacher abuse stories, you're going to find a huge positive story for Texas. And a crypto giant has now reincorporated in Texas, Coinbase. This should be getting a lot more headlines because between this and you see other companies do it, like Tesla ditched Delaware and reincorporated it in Texas, we are going to just sneakily become the financial capital of America. Well, NASDAQ's doing it too. There's now going to be a NASDAQ Texas, or is it NASDAQ Dallas? Which one was it? All right. Well, we must be doing something right. Thank you very much for your help on that. This is Brandon Walton. TexasScorecard.com is his website. Thanks, Brandon. Coming up next on The James Show, what the heck did Jasmine Crockett say this time? No, it's not about me. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. What did Jasmine Crockett say this time? It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. Well, it's all about the Epstein situation. She was on with CNN yesterday. There's actually 3 different cuts. But first, we're going to talk to Baden in Mineral Wells. You're on WBAP. Hey, Baden.
Hey, James. Man, I've been waiting to talk about this whole Hood County thing.
Oh, new people. There's a guy that was arrested in Hood County. The sheriff didn't like the fact that he made a post about one of his political allies. He deemed that it was impersonating a public official. Clearly satire if you see the post itself, but now it seems like the First Amendment's under question here in Texas, and that's what Baden's referring to. Go ahead, Baden.
Exactly. So when you really look at it from an outside point of view, the sheriff is not only friends with the meme that he posted online. Like she went and lied to the sheriff about it. She just didn't like it. There's a lot of county drama that goes on there when it comes to like school board elections and everything else. But it was in support of a political rival. So this is all political,
of course,
revenge, if you would. Now, when you really look at it, though, it gets even crazier because when the Justice of the Peace, Precinct 1, Sissy Freeman, she even posted on Facebook herself that she didn't even read the warrant before she signed it. She just signed it. She said it's not her job. Yeah, she said it's not her job to even read it. She just signed it without even looking at it. So, like, the drama goes very deep here, and it's just one constitutional violation after the other here.
Bro, if you're a judge that does that, you should be disbarred, kicked out of your seat, and go to jail. The whole point of a judge reading it is so sheriffs and policemen just can't go arrest anyone for any reason or go into anyone's house. There's no stopgap on your constitutional rights if a judge isn't reviewing warrants. That is wild, Baden.
Oh, I completely agree. You know, I even called the Justice of the Peace Precinct 1 yesterday and asked for a comment, and they refused to comment. I even asked them. So they're not even willing to say that the judge read the warrant before she signed it, and they weren't even willing to say that.
Wow. Well, look, this is the same thing that happens with the FISA court. You know, a lot of people say, well, look, they can't just spy on you. They have to go get a warrant, and they have to have probable cause, and they have to demonstrate it in front of a judge. But when you go look at the number of FISA applications that get approved, it's like 99% of them get approved. So there really is no backstop if judges aren't doing their job. And I'm not the kind of nerd that's going to sit around and double check all of my judges' warrants, and none of us are. So they're just going to get away with it as long as until something like this happens, I guess.
It's unbelievable, quite honestly. And if you go to Hood County Breaking News Facebook page, and if you join that, which is pretty easy to join, it's the past few days have been nothing but this controversy, and the entire community in Hood County is involved in it.
Wait, that's the group that originally made the post, right?
No. So, there's a few different Hood County news groups.
Okay.
So Colton ran a satire group called Hood County Sheepdogs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I knew it was something close to that. All right. Well, thanks for the updated information. I'm going to read more about this story.
Again, too, but not only was he a Navy veteran and political activist, he was also the guy who organized the vigil for Charlie Kirk in the community. He runs fundraisers for the Granbury Police Department. You know, he's big politically in the community.
Well, I don't care if he's a complete a-hole. He doesn't deserve this. Thank you very much.
No, he doesn't.
Thanks for the extra info. I got some more reading to do tonight. We might talk about this on tomorrow's show again. Thanks, Baden and Mineral Wells. All right, so next segment, what the heck did our friend Jasmine Crockett say this time? Well, it's all about the Epstein files.
Jasmine Crockett, queen of the liberal tea. Bleach blonde, bad-built butch body. Governor Hot Wheels, and he is a hot-ass mess, honey. Queen of the liberal tears.
Today's episode of What the Heck Did Jasmine Crockett Say This Time is brought to you by the Hood County Breaking News Group on Facebook. I'm just, for continuity's sake. Now, this one, I'm going to have to split this up over the next couple of segments. Jasmine Crockett was on CNN yesterday, and if you've ever had any doubt about what the modus operandi, the motivation on how they pick their stories and their topics and how they're going to fill their content, there should be no doubt after this. The purpose of CNN and MSNBC is to help Team Blue. They go out there. What will make Trump or someone on Team Red look the worst? That's our top story. That's what we're going to talk about. So yesterday, remember, this audio is from yesterday while they're voting on the shutdown budget compromise, while there's wars going on in the world, while there's still deportations and all these other very important issues, while the stock market closed at a record high yesterday. They spent 11 minutes with Jasmine Crockett talking about only one topic, Epstein. And you're like, well, maybe they just got it out of their system. No, about an hour and a half ago, Jasmine Crockett was on CNN again for another 10-minute segment, all Epstein, all the time. But look, I think this is an issue that's about to happen because there's supposed to be a vote to force the release of all the files. And let's see what she said this time. Jasmine Crockett with Wolf Blitzer on CNN yesterday.
Number one, it is clear that he knew what was going on, which I think that he's kind of alluded to that at some point in time because the president said that he was trying to kick Ghislaine out of Mar-a-Lago because it seems like that's where girls were being recruited from based on information that we have. But more importantly is that he was having...
So she's talking about the new emails that were leaked. And I mean, are they new? So we already knew that Virginia Jeffrey, her name said 10 different ways. She wrote a book about what she went through. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say I read the whole book, but I've read an article where it had excerpts from the book. And she talked about how she did get recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell to be working with Jeffrey Epstein, working in big old air quotes. And she was a towel girl in the locker room at Mar-a-Lago. That's a thing. Now, how did she get there? Being 15 years old and working as a towel girl in Mar-a-Lago. Her dad was on the maintenance crew. In fact, he was one of the shift managers on the maintenance crew, according to the excerpt that I read from her book. And so Ghislaine Maxwell's like in the changing room and she just comes up to her and she's naked and she says, hey, how would you like to come work for us? I mean, it's a real kind of gross story here when you realize she's a child. 15-year-old. I have a 15-year-old. You know how gross that sounds? So the emails don't actually implicate anything new. Yeah, Donald Trump wanted to kick Ghislaine Maxwell because they poached Virginia from him. And this is a guy who's kind of unsavory. I don't want you coming here and stealing my workers here and getting them wrapped up in your nastiness. But for Jasmine Crockett, it became, oh, no, he was totally aware of everything that was going on, which is sort of an implicit approval of everything that's going on. Coming up next, we'll continue with what the heck did Jasmine Crockett say this time. It's all about Trump and the Epstein emails that were leaked this week. 3 more clips coming up on The James Show. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. We're in the middle of What the Heck Did Jasmine Crockett Say This Time on The James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. And she was on CNN yesterday and today, and they're really going to hammer this. They've been talking about this a lot because, hey, you know, what are you going to say now to make Trump look bad? Oh, he got everything he wanted in the shutdown compromise. Oh, darn, the stock market closed at all-time high yesterday. That's terrible. Oh, no, we're solving wars. And no, it's going to be this Epstein thing. It was totally ignored for 4 years. Now it's the most important thing in the world. We're not buying it. There's something suspicious here. That being said, I would like for all the files to be released. Oh, heck yeah. Release all the files. I want to know. And everybody who did anything with children at that island, go to jail, go directly to jail. I hope we never see you and you breathe free air again. Never. What if Trump's in there? Yeah, I'm cool with that too. My point stands. I don't care what team you're on. Banging kids is sort of a deal breaker for support on the James Show. Should be on your show too. But this little accusation game goes back and forth. Jasmine Crockett wanted to remind you, Epstein died while Trump was in office.
Having conversation, he being Jeffrey Epstein with Michael Wolff, who is right.
That's the wrong spot, lady.
Yeah, I think that it is showing that he was well aware and he was trying to cover his tracks at that point in time. And I think that that's what you saw from Jeffrey. Obviously, it'd be better if we could talk to Jeffrey today, but it was very interesting that ultimately Jeffrey Epstein died sitting in prison during Trump's administration.
Well, she's not wrong. So the fact that he did die when Trump was in office, I mean, I guess you could find that suspicious. You could also, find it suspicious that he died in a New York City jail with New York City jailers and a Democrat mayor and Democrat county, whatever, Democrat, the governor. It's not like Donald Trump was in charge of that jail, but he is not too enthusiastic about releasing the stuff now. So that would be suspicious. However, if that's suspicious, then not trying to release it for 4 whole years under Biden, isn't that suspicious as well? Yeah, it is. So it sounds like someone's going to get in trouble, and it sounds like it's going to be someone on both sides. Now, here's the part where I get a little frustrated because I feel like so much of the discourse that happens on social media, or heck, even people emailing me and calling in, is people who disagree with you who aggressively misunderstand your position or aggressively misunderstand the facts, because that kind of makes discourse impossible here. So when she says, well, what else could it be but Trump's guilty? Well, I can think of 10 things.
While we don't know exactly what crimes he may or may not have committed, just think of it this way. If you know that you didn't do anything, then why is it that you would be twisting members of your own party's arms, trying to get them not to release it? This would be exonerating. If you know that you are free and clear, then why not say, you know what, release the files?
All right, 2 answers to that. Number one, that can be thrown right back at you. If you know you didn't do anything wrong, then why did y'all ignore it for 4 years? Why wasn't it not a thing for the 4 years that y'all were under Biden? It's important, right? We all agree with that now? Then why did you ignore it for 4 years? The other thing is actually answering her question and not throwing it back in her face. What else could it be other than you're guilty? Why wouldn't you release it? Wouldn't that exonerate you? Well, he could still be innocent, and there are people in his orbit that could be destroyed, or people that he doesn't even really care about but are politically advantageous, or people that are donors, or people that are donors to his friends, or it could be someone's college roommate's friend's son's baseball coach. He could be connected to other people, or people that he's connected to could be connected to other people that would go down with the ship. If there was anything incriminating in it, why didn't y'all release it when it was totally under your purview? Did you not see it? Do you not know? But I hate it when they ask these questions that are like, well, what else could it be, when there's an obvious answer to that? Well, what else? Because listen to this again. Just listen to Jasmine.
While we don't know exactly what crimes he may or may not have committed, just think of it this way. If you know that you didn't do anything, then why is it that you would be twisting members of your own party's arms, trying to get them not to release it? This would be exonerating.
Well, exonerating for him may not be good in the long run. Also, you got to think, what if it's, like some people who are in elected office right now, and this could cost them the Senate majority? I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying there are other answers to where, well, he obviously was doing improper things with children on Underage Rape Island with Jeffrey Epstein because he won't release the files. No, there's about 18 other logical reasons why he wouldn't do that. So do I have the answers? Heck no, I don't have the answers. I want to get the answers. I'm not going to drop this. I'm glad that someone's paying attention to it now. I'm quite suspicious for the people who act like this is the most important thing in the world now, that y'all sat on your hands for 4 years when it could have made, someone else's decision a little bit easier. Where were you? Why weren't you having 10-minute segments with Jasmine Crockett on consecutive days about Jeffrey Epstein for 4 years under Biden? So again, pox on both your houses. But here's one more clip. This is where I agree with her. I'm sort of sympathetic to this last clip here.
So I think that that's actually one of the things that we should talk about, is that the president has tried to call this all a hoax. I don't think you have this many people dying around a hoax. I don't think you have somebody trying to hide files around a hoax. We know that there's something there. We know that his own attorney general had to admit that he is in the files, but they are trying to hide stuff. The only reason that we have these emails is because
so the attorney general admitted he was in his files. What is that, some kind of gotcha? We knew he was in the files. We knew he was in the flight logs. We've known for a decade. Dang, lady. But I agree with the sentiment. This is not a hoax. This is not something that was made up. There's too much smoke for there to not be fire. And I don't care whose ox gets gored. I want those files. I want anyone who went to that island and did terrible things with minor children to go to jail for as long as legally possible. 800-288-9227, or actually the show's almost over. If you have any comments on that, Parker@WBAP.com. I have a feeling this story is going to continue. I saw CNN talking about it for half of my show today, and I really hope we get those files, and I hope we get them sooner rather than later. And you know what? I don't care what side you're on. I want to see powerful people go down. I don't care if they're all Republicans. I imagine that would have been released under the 4 years of Biden's if it was all Republicans. But I imagine it's big wigs on both sides. And I'm not sure if we'll ever get it, but my God, I certainly hope we do. That's going to do it for the James Show today. If you need more James Show action in the next 21 hours, you don't have to wait for the show to start again. You can go check out the podcast, WBAP.com, WBAP app. Stick around. The great one, Mark Levin's coming up next. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. The Hood County Sheriff ignited a social media firestorm for jailing a political critic over a meme. Find out more on the James Show at 2:05. A Texas congressman introduced an act to temporarily... You know what? I'm going to flip-flop those. A Texas congressman introduced an act to temporarily freeze all immigration, including legal immigration. Find out how this may be a good idea at 2:05. The Hood County Sheriff ignited a social media firestorm for jailing a political critic over a meme. Find out more on the James Show at 3:05. And the death of the penny should also be the death of the Federal Reserve Bank. I'll explain at 4:15. That's coming up today, 2 to 5. That's coming up Friday, 2 to 5. On the James Show with me, James Parker, on your Texas voice for common sense. News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM, WBAP.